Frank Martin and his brothers were always shooting downtown Terre Haute, because downtown Terre Haute is where it was happening, you know. It was the hub of the local railway system. It was the hub of commercial life. It was where all the doctors and dentists, or most of them anyway, had their offices. It was the hub. And their offices next door to me on the other side of the wall had a commanding view of that hub.
At that time, downtown Terre Haute was still a very busy place. There were many department stores, several dime stores, lots of places to eat, entertainment, movies were downtown, and of course the Terre Haute House and the Deming were the major hotels. It was a fun place, but then what happened to downtown Terre Haute is what's happened to most downtowns across the country. Gradually, the business moved south, and the crossroads of America, which had been at 7th and Wabash, were now at Interstate 70 and US 41. Downtown changed during the 39 years we've been here, but the downtown still is a wonderful place. I still call it my neighborhood, because that's where I'm the most at home, where I like to eat, where I like to walk, and where I know people.
Well, I grew up in Terre Haute, so I have lots of personal memories about downtown, because that was kind of more or less a meeting place. I remember wearing hats and gloves when we went downtown, always dressed up. That was just a way of shopping. Another fun thing was in the dime store on the corner, on the alley, Kresge's, I believe, and there was a lady in the back who played the piano. They sold sheet music, and people handed her a piece of sheet music, and she played it. My dad and I used to go downtown often on Monday evenings when my mother had bridge club, and we did what we called window shopping. All the windows were decorated with the latest clothing and the latest fashions, and so it was fun to walk along and look in the windows and see what we liked and what we didn't like. And then later, the sandwich shop in the Terre Haute House on the corner was a meeting place in high school and college. Another meeting place, I went to Wiley High School, and after school, we all went to 713 Wabash, which was a Gillis drugstore. There were booths in the back, and that was a place where the Wiley boys and girls congregated, and that was a fun get-together spot. In college, the Marine Room in the Terre Haute House. So those are just some of my personal memories of downtown Terre Haute.
And as a child, this is where we came to shop, and always my mother was dressed in her hat and gloves, and I got to dress up too, and my father would bring us over for a day of shopping. We would start our day, of course, shopping on Wabash Avenue at some of the stores along there, Meese and Alden's, and always had lunch at the Goody Shop. That was the place that we would stop for our lunch, which was over on Ohio. And my father, of course, didn't like to shop with us, so he met us always at the Terre Haute House in the evening before we would drive back to Robinson.
At Christmas time, the garland that went across Wabash Avenue, forming an arc all the way down from 7th to 6th. The Mayflower Room, of course, at the Terre Haute House was a prominent place for dances. For theaters, of course, the Indiana was at the corner of 7th and Ohio, which it still is. The Grand was at the corner of 7th and Cherry. Then on Wabash Avenue, between 8th and 7th, were the Orpheum and the Liberty, because our mothers were going to see Gone with the Wind, and it was on in the morning so that they would be able to get home by the time school was out.
Well, I can remember the beautiful, beautiful train stations, and I think that was very, very sad when they had to, when they took them down, because not only were they very beautiful, but they represent what Terre Haute represents. We are the crossroads of America.
They had an escalator that whined real bad, and it always made my ears hurt when I went in there because there was some sort of high-pitched sort of sound. And Roots was, they had the hair salon. You know, it was like a Penny's or something now. There was Ben Becker Shoes, and the neat thing on that was the sidewalk as you walked in, they had little brass footprints that actually led you up to the door of Ben Becker Shoes. And they sold Buster Brown saddle shoes there, and I always wanted a pair of Buster Brown saddle shoes.
The favorite memory is shopping downtown on President's Day. They had big sales at all the stores, so we'd get up and I'm from Sullivan, it'd be a 30-mile trip, and we'd be here by 7 in the morning before the doors open.